everyone, and thank you for joining us for the series kickoff of our 2021 Fulton's First Mayor's Minutes. I am excited to bring to you a recap of some things that we did at the end of the year and talk about what we can expect for 2021. I certainly understand how important it is to get a State of the City announcement out there, and we are working on that now to make sure that we include all of the successes that happened in 2020, the hurdles, and what we can expect moving forward. So be on the lookout for that. We will have that soon. I first want to start off by talking about some COVID updates. As we all know and have been aware of for almost a year now, COVID is in our community, and it's impacting us all in one way or another. I know that we as a community have placed a lot of importance on the safety and well-being of our community, of our family, our friends, our neighbors, our co-workers, and ourselves. And you've all done an amazing job. I thank you for your efforts and everything that you've done to make sure that our community stays moving in the right direction. But the reality is it didn't skip over Fulton. It didn't skip over Oswego County. And it's going to take us to continue in the way that we have been moving forward to make sure that we are proactive and that we are always putting the safety and health and well-being of our community at the forefront. If my office or my teams here at City Hall can be of any support, give us a call. Let us know what we can do to help you with information, to help you with financial support through various funding opportunities, and to make sure that we are a support for our community as we move along. We want a safe community. We know that COVID has had its impact, but we know that we are going to come out on the other end of this stronger and better than we were. Thank you all for being safe, for making sure that the community is safe, and we'll continue to provide COVID updates as they become available. I want to move on to an initiative that we had been working on in all of 2020 and are just wrapping up now, giving our final report. It's called the LISC, L-I-S-C 2.0 grant, and that grant was administered through our Fulton Community Development Agency, and it was very specific to dealing with vacant, zombie, and blight neighborhoods. The goal of the grant was to help improve the overall quality of living, quality of life, and safety of our neighborhoods. We, in 2020, inherited the second half of this grant process, and we needed to make sure that we were managing it properly. So through COVID and through all of what 2020 had to offer, we put in a concerted effort to make sure that we were using those grant dollars and putting them to good use. The LISC grant dollars went towards initiatives such as our 2 citywide block blitzes that happened in each ward. It helped to contribute to some of the efforts to whether it was cleaning up properties or assisting homeowners with initiatives to help improve their properties or to address vacant and zombie properties. We went across all 6 wards and identified the top problem areas, and where we could, we were able to help through the grant. In addition, we were able to identify where additional support and help is needed down the road. So the LISC grant was integral in that process. In addition to that, it helped to fund so that the taxpayer dollars didn't have to go to this expense. It helped to fund the city's new website. It helped to fund the Community Development Agency's new website, which will be rolling out here soon. It helped to fund the new logos for both the city and the CDA. So it helps to provide that type of support so that we have a quality website that will provide you good information and updates as it pertains to neighborhood initiatives, as it pertains to how we are enforcing code. your access to information and your access to contact the decision makers in the city so that you can learn more about what's happening, what role you can play, and voice your concerns and your feedback. So the LIST grant went to help pay for that as well. Again, we have our website up and running for the city. It's a work in progress, but we're really proud of the end product. And you can see the results of that website at www.fultonnewyork.org, and you'll see that here on my screen. That is the homepage. We're really excited about that and hope you'll give it a visit, check it out, and see all that it has to offer. It's a fresh new look, and it really highlights all of the assets within the city of Fulton. And again, the Fulton Community Development Agency website will be rolling out here soon, and you'll see that synergy and connection between the city and the agency's new look and feel. So we're excited to roll that out. I also wanted to update everyone on the recent project that we're finalizing, including the Hannibal Street traffic. Over the 2020 year, we met with various individuals who live along the Hannibal Street corridor. And we learned from those visits, from observations, from traffic studies we did through our police department, that there was certainly a need to address the speed and the type of traffic traveling up and down the Hannibal Street corridor. So what we've done is we've finished our research, we've finished our traffic studies, we've worked with the police department, we've worked with the counselors, and more specifically, we've worked with the residents to learn what is needed. And we're happy to report that we are about to submit our final report to the traffic department and the police department to implement changes that are necessary. We started enforcing speed in 2020. We're going to continue to enforce speed. It's 30 miles an hour, and we need everyone going 30 miles an hour. But the other problem was that we are noticing that large tractor trailers and large vehicles are traveling up and down that road outside of local traffic, outside of local business delivery trucks. We're seeing large vehicles traveling up and down Hannibal Street, and it poses a concern. So we are going to be implementing weight limits along that street. If you review the code or you look online to see what weight limits are already in the code, we're simply going to be enforcing that now. On Hannibal Street, it's going to be 15-ton max. So 15-ton max, as you'll see if you research that, that's large tractor trailers, that's large trucks that carry, perhaps logging trucks as an example. We're going to make sure that we are enforcing that weight limit so that we can reduce that type of traffic up and down Hannibal Street. But we understand we need to be proactive. This isn't just about enforcement. This is about education, this is about listening, and it's also about communicating. So my team is going to be reaching out to area businesses who may have vehicles traveling up and down that road and don't realize that there's a weight limit. So we'll reach out to the company that has the logging trucks, and we'll reach out to the companies that have the large tractor trailers traveling up and down. We'll reach out to the businesses along Hannibal Street and let them know what their opportunities are. And we'll let them know about the changes, how it'll affect them, and what our expectations are. We'll be proactive. We always want to be proactive first. We want to be good community partners. But the reality is safety is first and foremost for our neighborhoods and for our community. So we're going to be proactive and we're going to be good community partners, but we're also going to enforce where we need to enforce. So be on the lookout for those new signs. Understand that we will be monitoring speed and weight limits. And in the end, the goal is to create for a safer environment, a safer neighborhood for the neighbors and businesses along that street. Quick update on the DRI, the Downtown Revitalization Initiative, or the $10 million award that we received in 2019. We are still moving along. We are in contact with the state. The process often can be misunderstood, and I understand why. we're awarded $10 million, we get all this PR, we see a $10 million check, and then we're not seeing anything happen. To put a little bit to how this works is once you're awarded the $10 million, you spend the next year planning. You create a committee called the Local Planning Committee as required by the DRI. We work with our partners at the state. We work with a consulting firm that was assigned to Fulton by the state, and we plan for a whole year. All of 2020 was planning. It was getting businesses to submit their projects. It was reviewing those projects. It was determining what municipal projects needed to be included. It was going back and forth with meetings and public input sessions. There was a lot of planning in 2020. Towards the end of 2020, we were able to complete our final slate of projects, and we've been in communication with the state. They have our final slate of projects. It is ready to be delivered to the governor. I'll be reaching out to our partners in Albany regarding the DRI to get a recent, most recent update to find out where our status is and how far along we're moving with our project. But keep in mind that while we, the city of Fulton, were awarded $10 million, so were other communities that same year. Our project does not stand alone, meaning that when we submit our project, the governor wants all projects submitted at once. So we, as we were told by our partners in New York State, that we moved along nicely, and Fulton did a really nice job of working collaboratively, working together, having a solid plan in place, and sticking to our timelines. So we were able to submit a finished product in a timely manner. There were other communities who were a little bit behind that, and so we were waiting for them to get their projects in. And that's okay. But what we know is that once all projects were submitted from all communities that were awarded, that's when the governor was going to take a look and say what projects for each municipality, in this case for Fulton, will be awarded. Once we understand which projects will be awarded as determined by those in Albany, and more specifically by the governor and his team, once we know what projects are approved, then we will be able to move forward with those specific projects. We will move forward in collaboration with our partners in Albany and those developers whose projects were submitted. At that point, the city of Fulton, and frankly at this point, the city of Fulton is removed from the process. Every decision from this point forward is not a decision of the city of Fulton. It is a decision of the governor and his team. He will decide what projects are approved. He will decide when he announces those projects. And once those projects are approved, the state funding agencies work directly with the developer. We, as a city, do not see that money exchange hands. We're not involved in the management of those dollars. That is between the state and the developers. Municipal projects such as infrastructure updates to our technology so that we have quality Wi-Fi in our downtown. Or it could be the marina upgrade, or upgrades to our gateways to our city, or the historical district that we want to bring attention to and upgrade. So those are all going to be important projects that we will be directly involved with. But any of those private projects will not be at the direction of the city. We'll be partners, we'll help, but the city is not involved in terms of planning and working with the developers. That's the state funders who do that. But we're excited. We know that the DRI is going to be a great addition to the community, and we're continuing to move forward. We have to do a lot of internal planning at the city to get our codes department ready, our planning and zoning commissions ready, and our community development agency ready for this growth and these opportunities. So that's what we're doing now. We're providing training and development. We're working with our partners at Barton and LaJudas to provide essential training so that we're ready. So we're continuing to enhance the process so that we can make as smooth of a transition into DRI as possible. So we're excited about that. Stay on the lookout for more updates as we move along. Along those same lines, we have seen some great success outside of the DRI before the DRI really hits. We have seen interest in the city, and it's exciting. And we are thrilled to start talking with these developers about their vision. Does it fit the vision as we move forward? And how can we partner and work together to bring their investment and their vision to the city of Fulton? We have some major properties within the city that have either been considered blight or vacant or neglected for years. And we're starting to see interest there. We're talking to 2 major developers on projects at the Nestle site. We are actively involved in discussions regarding the Nestle site. We are extremely excited. While we can't release all of the details at this point because we're still in the planning phases, we have 2 very viable projects that are being considered for the Nestle site, and they are going to take up a majority of that site. So we're working diligently to move forward with those projects to see if we can make something come to fruition. We really want to see something happen at that Nestle site. We understand it's the gateway to the city, and I've said that many times. I've talked about that Nestle site many times. Now we're seeing interest. People are starting to look at Fulton and say, something's going on there. We want to be a part of that change. We want to be a part of that momentum forward. We're entertaining a lot of ideas. Some of them don't fit our vision, but a lot of them do. So how can we make these projects happen in our city? We have another project involving a financial institution interested in coming to our city, and we don't know, we haven't worked out all the details yet, but they are inquiring about coming to the city and finding a location here. So we're excited to welcome them into our community and see if we can do something more for them. We also are looking at, and I'm really excited to report that the Holly Drive Motel, while all the details have not been worked out and we don't have a final recap of that project, what we do know is that the Holly Drive Motel does have a buyer, and that buyer is looking to put in 22 efficiency apartments for 55 and older demographic, and that will be nearly a $500,000 investment in that property. So if all goes well, they've been in front of the ZBA, they've talked to some of our planning members, they've been in touch with our community development agency and myself. We're continuing to work with the developer in hopes that we can make something happen there. When we talk blight, it doesn't get much worse than that. We understand what a problem that has been for our community. The gateway to our community, there's development all around there. We have Casanova just came into the community. We have the wrestling facility that's in the works. We have a burned dairy in the area. And then we have this blight property that just brings down the community. And if the neighbors there have had to live with that for years, if we don't proactively work with individuals with interest, that continues to sit there and be a real problem for our community. So we're not going to sit back and not take a proactive approach. We're being very proactive, and we're being partners with these developers to see if we can be creative on how we can make these projects work. That's an exciting project. Again, it's in the very beginning stages, but a real viable offer and a real opportunity. So we are excited about that, and there'll be more to follow. We have some additional properties. We sold a vacant property that had been sitting there for years, and it was certainly not moving. We have a strong business in the community who bought this vacant land adjacent to them, and they're looking to expand their business along that 481 gateway coming from Oswego. So we're going to see some progress there. We're helping them again in collaboration with the Fulton Community Development Agency and myself and our partners and support team at Assemblyman Barkley's office and Senator Ritchie. and the Department of Transportation, New York State DOT. We're working together to help that business with the certain approvals that they need to make their project happen. So that, more to follow on that. We're really excited about that. So again, we have some major projects in the works, and we're very optimistic that we're going to see some movement there. But we'll keep you updated and let you know more about that. In collaboration with the Fulton Community Development Agency, we work with the Oswego County Land Bank. And the Oswego County Land Bank helps to take these vacant and blight properties. And in exchange, we work with the land bank to improve our properties. So we basically exchange that property, give that to them, they rehab it and sell it. It's a win-win on both sides. It helps to clean up our city, the win for the city. It helps to provide resources for the land bank so they can continue to do these projects throughout our city. They currently have 4 properties within the city of Fulton that they're rehabbing. Either they're already have been rehabbed or they're in the process of being rehabbed. We have a seat at the table for their board of directors. And in 2020, that seat became vacant. I spent much of 2020 trying to determine who would be the best fit to represent the city of Fulton at that board. And I am proud to announce that Linda Egan with Fulton Block Builders accepted the appointment opportunity, and she'll be serving on the Oswego County Land Bank representing the city of Fulton. I couldn't think of a better person to represent the city of Fulton with all that she's done with Fulton Block Builders and how she's shown that one house at a time, it's all it takes is one home, one house at a time, being cleaned up, being repaired, being rehabbed, makes a difference for that whole neighborhood. That's the type of energy and vision and mindset we need representing us at the Land Bank Board. So we're excited to have Linda on board. We're excited to have her representing the city, and we are confident that in her leadership, we will see great things happening within the city of Fulton. A few other things that we want to talk about real quick. I know that everyone knows, but just a quick mention that for the first time in 10 years, we were able to lower taxes, be it just slightly. We were able to do that, and we appreciate all the hard work that went into those efforts and feedback we received in that budget process. And we're delivering what I feel is a very sound budget and a more responsible budget, and one that we definitely can continue to improve on, but one that we're proud of as our first budget brought forth. In addition to that, I know I've talked about our state funding and how state aid has been held back from the city of Fulton, not just the city of Fulton, municipalities across the state. State aid was held back at the tune of about $500,000 was held back from the city of Fulton, about 20% of our state aid. That state aid is used for paving the streets, fixing our infrastructure, various projects, DPW projects across the city. We had to put a lot of that on hold because we didn't have the state aid. It was just released in the last week or so that the governor, of that 20% he held back, he's releasing 15% of that. So we are going to be able to recoup some of that holdback money in the near future. We should be getting that soon. So, that's great. I'm thrilled that we were able to get some of that back, but let's face it, I want it all, and we want to make sure we get more state aid. Municipalities rely on that state aid. We can't afford to have holdback, and we can't afford for the New York State budget to remove or reduce our state aid. We need it. That's what helps our city move forward. So I'll continue to fight to make sure that Albany knows how important it is that we get our aid and that we don't continue to see it taken away from the vital services of the city of Fulton. I do serve on the New York Conference of Mayors, various committees, and one of those committees is a policy committee involving community development. And we have a voice, and we have a strong voice, and we make sure that we advocate for our municipalities. And I'll continue to do that, whether it be sending letters or when it's safe to do so, making trips to Albany, and making sure that Albany hears our voice. Municipalities rely on this state aid to provide vital services. I'm not budging on that. I'm not making exceptions to that. I will stay strong and I will fight for every dollar we deserve here in the city of Fulton. So that fight continues, and I'll keep you updated on what's next there. That's all I have to report for today. That's a brief recap of what's happened in 2020 and 2021, but I will bring to you a more in-depth analysis and review of what's happened in 2020 and what we can expect in 2021. I wish everyone a very happy new year. Thanks for tuning in, and look forward to providing these to you on a monthly basis. Have a great rest of your week.